there's many people that say, well, we're not aware of this, or we are aware, however, we don't agree, or we can agree to disagree. Well, the problem is something is not known. People to agree or disagree on some type of matter. If something was known, I'd say, you know what? Yeah, now something is known. Now something is established. Now people can then, with all the elements known, with all angles and perspectives understood, we can agree and we can either agree or disagree. And if it's something we disagree, well, what did we disagree on?
So that's something that is unknown. Yet something that wants to be known or wants to be manifested to be known, people are messing with people's processes in the midst, not allowing people to do what is needed to be done so something can be known. And then people can be aware and understand correctly and then agree because obviously something is true. Because something is true, you have to agree. You cannot not agree. Lack of understanding or lack of knowledge isn't an excuse to not want to understand something or to misunderstand something. If somebody does misunderstand what is true, you have to want to understand. You have to want to be aware of what is true to then be able to move forward correctly. Yet something is much more sophisticated. There's a mix with this of something unknown and known. Something is known and is unknown. Obviously, something is known from my understanding of what the truth is. Something is not unknown. There's no way my information is known to something or someone is unknown to something or someone else. There's just no way. Okay? Especially me and especially everything I've ever mentioned, everything I've done in terms of what I've mentioned. So I don't believe that. Somebody else possibly believes that. Going back to the story.
Yeah, we can now. Somebody showed somebody's kind of vision.
When I say no way, correction. There's just you can't fool me. You can't make me believe that to be true. You can't make me believe that to be true is the correct answer. Correction. The fool and the way, disregard that. Discount that.
What did we agree
I don't want to use those lack of understanding words.
on? What did we disagree on? And whatever we did disagree on, can people agree? Well, if something is true, how can you disagree with what is true? You see?
How can you disagree with what is true? Does that make sense for you to disagree with what is true? Something is true, something is good, something is the way something is. Something is the nature of something. How can you disagree with it? Even if you disagree with something that is true, is one thing to disagree, is another thing to go against. Going against is the violation because something is true, something is the foundation, the code of the blueprint of the universe. How can you go against what is the blueprint, the code of the universe? You can't. If you do, that's a violation. That's a personal problem.
That's the problem. How can you disagree with what the fact is, what the truth is, that will get people out of the mess? You guys are people are disagreeing with what is true. In doing so, partaking less than what is true, causing an issue. Something or someone else is causing issue. Something or someone else is causing issue. There's a lot of issues. Hi, Riz? Is that you again? Somebody to themselves in the book, in the movie, in somebody's life, in some time or another.
Correction, with time.
Those groups need to get the heck out of people's lives when they're unpleasant. So, going back to what I was saying, anything that is a disagreement with what is true, you have to change and you have to agree. You have to understand to agree. And then, with understanding, with agreeing, then you have to partake and be the truth. Okay? That's the answer. And this is a different story. Here's another thing that I've mentioned before. I'm going to mention again. I think people are trying to hide this possibly. This has to do with something being true, something being correct, something continuing. Yet some people are wrong. Yet they don't care about the truth. They want the truth to lose so they can also win wrongly and make seem or make appear that they're the ones responsible for telling truth. What to do?
Somebody tried to keep me passive here.
What to do, what to say, what to think. In other words, trying to take credit. Okay, this is what people are trying to hide possibly. Be aware of that.
So you know what else I noticed was also occurring? The fact that people knew that something was true and correct, instead of feeding what was true and correct, they created a problem to be politically correct, to claim, oh look, something is false, even though something is true, with creating a problem to justify themselves. Okay? In other words, if people didn't create a problem, would there be a problem? No. There's no problem if people don't create a problem. Yet people create a problem to justify why they specific people, specific groups create a problem. Instead of spending time and energy on realistically what is true in terms of what the truth really is, to be able to grow that, multiply that, feed that, and that be manifested. No, they did the opposite. They did this, they did that. Why? Because I want to be correct. You know, that was their excuse. They want to be so correct. They not only were wrong, they were very wrong. Not only were they very wrong, they caused a bunch of problems, and they try to blame something or someone else in that particular element. People are funny, man. You know, the level of nonsense that occurs and the level of nonsense that I'm dealing with is just, silly to me. There I was at the park. I was mentioning something to do with there's a person that's a specific guilty person, yet they're trying to dodge themselves and they're trying to make somebody innocent suffer. Especially when the person that is guilty of something can change and can continue to be true and change and continue to be true. Yet they want something or someone to suffer, and then they possibly want to change. Can you imagine the oxymoronic, hypocritical, wrong, unjust, forbidden thing that is going on here on this earth? Can you imagine this? I know what people are thinking. They're like, wow, that person looks like you. So the issue is the fact that people are not making sense. Okay? And while keeping people busy, then they want to introduce a scenario. So that people will react and then people can win wrongly. So some people are doing something wrongly because they've lost from day one till today. So they're trying to win wrongly. Okay? The virus groups are trying to win wrongly They're trying to humiliate people. They're trying to cause issues. All the things you can understand. They're trying to do because they lost. So they're trying to expect other people to lose. So somebody's trying to maintain an error that they're supposedly correct. They're not correct. They're wrong. Somebody needs attention. Somebody didn't get attention that they needed, so they needed attention. And they're trying to affect people possibly too. This is an attempt to undermine. This is an attempt to deter. This is an attempt to submit. This is an attempt to mix. People don't care, so they can win people over. That's all they're doing. To me, they're viruses, definitely. No doubt about that. And these specific elements, whatever they're doing, they're viruses. Personal issues. These virus groups should not have my information, not even for a second. Any form of nonsense that's eating meat and all this type of stuff, they shouldn't have my information. Heck no. The person that's eating meat has to eat meat to survive. You can't eat meat just to eat meat. You buy it from the grocery store, something not technology or natural passing. Get the heck out of my life, man. I take people out of my life. Only the truth can stay. And then when people are true and change and so on and so forth, and truth can agree, depending on elements, then they can be in people's lives. Otherwise, I take people out of my life. I don't need people in my life. I want people out of my life. I need only truth with being in my life. Similar to a puzzle, everything else is a lie. These nonsense groups lost from beginning till today. On every single thing they threw at me, I won. Everything they threw at me, I won. Everything. Whatever they played, I beat them. I beat them in their own stupid game. They don't want people to know that because they've been wrong the entire time. So they want to maintain their stupid narrative. And if people claim that they beat me wrongly and manipulatively and caused issues on me to beat me and did a bunch of stupid scenarios that didn't fit in their stupid image and their narrative, and they were unable to drag me in the process, guess what? I beat them in their own stupid game. The ego got the best of them. That's what happened. The ego was too big. You couldn't believe the fact that they were wrong. They couldn't accept the truth, accept truth or not. Truth is the truth. Doesn't matter. The book still continues, all right? You know, everybody should still have a book and be part of that book and so on and so forth. The only thing is, some people are possibly doing something wrongly and expecting different results. And you know what I think they're doing? I think they're doing a play out to see wrong reactions, wrong timing of everything. This is what some people are working on, you know? They're doing some type of wrong reaction. Excuse me, wrong play out to see a reaction. No, I don't play stupid. I don't play nonsense games. Yeah, people are trying to make me put up with a, nonsense game, trying to do a discount. I beat them in every single thing they threw at me. Everything. They're only thriving off of lies and mixes on my behalf. Should lies count? No. Should be uncounted. You know, uncounted. In other words, reverted. Discounted was wrong the entire time. I didn't realize until later. Don't use that word either. So there's a belief game going on, possibly, and this belief game is entirely based on lies. Well, not based on lies, however, lies in form. Nothing to do with reality. Yet some people try to believe some type of thing, nothing to do with reality, and try to justify themselves. You know what else is going on? Remember how earlier today I mentioned how some people do lie reactions, lie opinions, and put people in their narratives to justify some type of wrongdoing on them? I think that's what may be going on too. In other words, some people are lyingly manipulating something, putting people on their narratives, on their images, and then doing so, attempting to win me or somebody else over, lyingly doing so. Okay? However, they're lies. No one should take them seriously. Remember, whatever anybody's doing, regardless, there's a just to everything. Whatever anybody's doing, there's a just, less just, unjust, and time will tell because of elements, because of beliefs, because of the effects, because of the phenomena. Everything varies. Everything is different for everybody. You know, so that is realistically what is true. Yet some people say, okay, well, you do this, I can do this too. However, for them, it doesn't make sense for them to do. So, what would be the answer? Obviously, refraining from something until something is established and known with all elements, then continue with people understanding everything is realistically the answer. Yet some people say, "Oh no, we're not, we can't do that. That's impossible." Well, that's reality. Everything else people did away, misspend their time and energy on whatever they did was possible, was a violation of what they did. Yet, what is true, they can't be doing. They can't change and make correct and understand. Can you imagine? Must be changed accordingly to what is true. So, I'll put it to you this way: something will take a little bit more time, will work. Something will take less time, will fail. You know, or is that do something? No. I obviously wouldn't do that. I'm recommending no one does that. Anybody that's playing any form of game, there's some type of politics occurring. So with that politics that's occurring, it's similar to a trap. You know how something is a trap? That's what that equals to. Something is a trap, yet some people are partaking in and believing. And you know what else is going on? A lot of people, they have anger issues, you know? They have a lot of anger issues, and so they're showing off their anger. That's a form of weakness, last time I checked, you know? They're showing off their anger, and they're basically showing off their weakness, you know? That's a form of weakness. Their anger is a form of weakness. I think what they've done is these groups, these people, they know that everything I'm doing is correct in terms of me mentioning what I'm mentioning. This is what I need to be doing. They're using lie excuses and getting frustrated and getting confused and getting angry to do a lie excuse subconsciously, psychologically in their minds without even realizing to justify their nonsense. Okay? It's weak tactics. They don't even realize what's going on. They don't realize what they're doing. They don't even know who they are. Because if they did, they wouldn't be taking their frustration and personal issues on something or someone. Personal issue, that's all that is. A different form of personal issues. Everything lies is the problem. People want to know what the problem is. They say, oh, what is the problem? All that is lies. All that is lies is a problem. Too many lies, you know, too many. And when there's too many, at the same time, on top of a lack of balance, on top of avoidance, that's a lot of problems that occur, you know. So people are too politically correct. They're too logical. They're not thinking something in terms of all perspectives of what something occurred. They're only thinking in terms of one perspective. And saying, oh, well, look, this is beneficial. This is not beneficial. This is beneficial, however, not beneficial for us. So therefore, we can do this if we want. We know we can do this. We can play this card. You know, we can do that. We can do this and play that card. A lot of groups in their minds, they think they're correct. Just because I'm holding myself well, just because I'm tough, they don't realize the level of problems that I'm facing within myself. Yeah, a lot of people are facing a lot of issues. Yet, some people just want to make people keep going. You know, they want to keep people going so they can say, "Oh, look, we're correct. You see, the person has no issues. Let's disregard all these. Let's not establish anything. Let's ignore everything and fit people in our narratives and our motives and wherever everything is." That's what groups are doing. Okay, they're disregarding a lot of elements. They're causing a lot of violations in terms of wrong choices, wrong decisions that they're making, and making themselves seem or appear that they're supposedly correct. Are they really correct in terms of people being tough and somebody doing a wrong math, those groups are the worst. They don't care about me. They don't care about anybody. They just pretend that they do. Versus people that claim that they pretend that they do, that they really do care, and versus people that don't, that do care later, depending on how they've been manipulated. So maybe specifications and variations. However, the point is, some people don't care. They just act like they care. They pretend, though, that they care. They don't really think they care. They're just giving people illusions, holding people back so people won't be able to move forward. And you know how these groups are justifying their wrongdoings? Lyingly, cheatingly, illogically. Okay? Lyingly, cheatingly, and illogically, they're justifying themselves. Are they realistically justified? Zero. They're not justified at all. Not to the planet Earth, not to me. Are they really justified? No. Yet they're passing lies for truth. Different elements, different same, is those nonsense viruses going around, trying to make me duped, trying to make me believe that they're supposedly justified. Not justified. They can't even argue their justification out. It's only lies. Illogical. To somebody that's illogical, they may make sense. To somebody that's logical, they may not make sense. Yet they try to retain answers, try to adapt to answers to then justify themselves. However, they're just lying to themselves. They're just lying to everybody. Not realistically justified. You're just, you're just, you're unjust, you're unjust. That's similar to you're correct, you're correct, you're wrong, you're wrong. There's no in between of either you're wrong or you're correct. You're correct, you're correct, you're wrong, you're wrong. Yet if you're correct, excuse me, yet if you're wrong, all you have to do is admit that you're wrong, understand that you're wrong to be able to correct your mistakes. Yet some people know that they're wrong, yet they continue on with being wrong, and they're not realistically what is the definition of what is true. They don't know what the truth is. They just try to convince themselves to other people that they're supposedly correct. Well, depends on whom, depends on what, may make sense. However, then something or someone else is doing that to something or someone else too. And then I don't know, maybe something or someone else is doing that on something or someone else too. So therefore, are they correct doing what they're doing? Those groups have nothing to do with being correct at all. Yet, instead of fixing themselves, they're playing a game, being exposed, being caught, then wanting to change, wanting to want to be true. Something is too late. Some people when they're realistically making a mistake and they don't realize, and something is benign, they say better late than never. I'm sure people have heard that expression before. Better late than never. Well, that pertains to those specific people. That pertains to specific people in terms of better late than never, in terms of them striving to understand, striving to make correct choices and decisions, striving and striving and striving. Yet some people play that similar to politics, go all the way with their nonsense. Then somebody says, "Oh, the expression better late than never," you change, and you know what? This doesn't really make sense with them. That's the wrong feel. Nothing is the way something is supposed to be. So do I support those particular groups? Not support, excuse me, I don't use that word. Do I guide those particular groups? Doesn't make sense. Even if I guide them, you know how that would be? Me guiding them so they won't hit their heads. Yet if they're hitting their heads and me guiding them, what's the point? If they're gonna be hitting their heads and then drag me in the process, what would be the point of that? There's no point of that. People on different timelines, different maths, different scenarios, and with their perception, with all over the place, they think, "Oh, look, this person is similar to this." Da, 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 da. Close proximity, close proximity. A lot of close proximities, yet something is off. It's not what something is. Some people want everything at once. Yet they don't understand that if they want everything at once, something, even though something is correct and is wrong, the way somebody wants something, doesn't make sense for people to have. It doesn't make sense for something to be. Because isn't the entire point for something to be correct, for not a lot of nonsense things to be solved, for something to realistically be and continue to be? That's the entire point.